Are you applying for a non-immigrant visa to the United States of America? Well, you have to fill the DS-160 form. So if you're coming to the US for tourism or to do a rotation or elective, which is generally done on a B1, B2 visa, or research on a J1, you need to start here, and I'll leave the link for this in the description below. You start by selecting the location in which you'll be applying for the visa. Then you enter the code here and then click Start New Application. Click I agree. Answer the security question. You have a drop-down list of multiple questions you can use. Then you'll start with the personal information section. They'll ask you about your last name, your first name, and your full name in your native alphabet. So don't write your name in English. It has to be in the alphabet of your language. Then it will ask you if you've used other names and if you have a code for your name. Then you're gonna select your sex, male, female, and your marital status. Then simply the date and place of birth. If you don't have a state for the city of birth, you can pick doesn't apply, and then the country. And then you can click next. Then you can pick your country of nationality and whether you have other nationalities. If you don't, you click no. If you do, you click yes, and it will ask you about your other nationalities. Then it will ask you if you have permanent residency in a country other than the country of your nationality. So if you're Indian, for example, but you have permanent residency in Austria, you have to answer that here. Then you can fill your national identification number, US social security number, and US tax ID number. And if you don't have that, you can just click does not apply. And you can see here, one nice thing is on the side, you can see a description of these questions. So if you're not sure about some of these questions, you can see what they mean here. And then you can click next. Then you're gonna pick the purpose of your trip to the US. So if you're coming for tourism or for a rotation in a hospital, generally it's under the B category. And if you're coming for research, generally it's under the J category. For the types of visa or legal questions, I recommend you reach out to a lawyer. This video is not for the purpose of providing any legal advice. It's just to help you navigate the application. If you pick the B category, it's gonna ask you to specify if you're looking for business and tourism, which is B1/B2, business only, B1, tourism or medical, B2. If you pick the exchange visitor, it will drop down. This is J1, J2, and J2. Then it's gonna ask you if you have made specific travel plans, and it tells you here if you are unsure of your travel plans, please provide an estimate. So if you're not sure exactly what day you'll be going, just provide an estimate. So even if you answer no, it will show you this intended date of arrival, intended length of stay, and you can pick here the number, years, month, weeks, days. And then you have to pick the entity paying for your trip. Self, which is if you're paying for yourself. Somebody else, you can pick other person. If your current employer is paying, you can pick present employer. If an employer in the US is paying, you can pick employer in the US. And the last option is other company/organization. If you have made specific plans, you can click yes, and it will show more options. You'll have the exact date of arrival, the flight number, the city that you'll fly in the US, your date of departure flight number, and the city that you'll fly out from the US. So here, let's say you're flying from London to Philadelphia, the arrival city would be Philadelphia. And let's say you're departing from Houston back to London, the departure city would be Houston. And then it asks you the locations you plan to visit in the US. Let's say you're here for an elective or a rotation in a hospital in Philadelphia and one in Houston. So you would add the location Philadelphia, and then you'd add another and you'd write Houston here. The same if you're coming for tourism and you have 1 or 2 or 3 destinations, you can add that here. And then they ask you about the exact street address, city, state, and zip code for where you'll be staying in the US. So if you're coming for tourism or a rotation or research, you can provide either the house address or the Airbnb or the hotel you'll be staying at. And it asks you the same question about who will be paying for your trip, and is a self, other person, present employer in the US, and other company/organization. And then you click next. By the way, if you're new here and you don't know about my YouTube channel, I'm a plastic surgery resident in the US who started the Match Guide to help international medical graduates with their journey to the US and achieve their dream of matching into residency. So if you're interested in looking for US clinical experience or rotations, we have multiple of that. Go to thematchguide.com, and under services, you can find the different US clinical experiences we have, and we keep adding new and new experiences to help international medical graduates get the experience they're looking for before they apply to the match. You can find the details of each rotation by clicking on more info. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to schedule a free consultation with our customer support team who will help you answer any questions you have about our services and our courses. Then it will ask you if there are other people traveling with you, and you should answer yes if you're traveling with family, part of an organized tour, or you're part of a performing group or athletic team. However, if you're traveling with individuals that will be working for the same employer you'll be working with in the US, you don't need to list these individuals. If you click yes, it will expand to another question. Are you traveling as part of a group or organization? And if you answer yes, it will ask you the group name. If you answer no, it will ask for the first and last name of the person traveling with you and the relationship. One thing I always recommend is when you're filling this application, click save whenever you fill anything so you don't lose your progress, and also keep track of your application ID because that is the number that you can use to come back and fill this application later. So you don't have to fill the application all at once. You can fill it on multiple days, but you need to get that application ID so you can retrieve your application and continue filling it. Then it will ask you about your previous travel to the US. Have you ever been in the US? And if you answer yes, it will ask you about the date you arrived, how long did you stay, and if you held a US driver's license. And if you answer yes, it will ask for the number and the state of that driver's license. If you answer no, you can go to the next question. Have you ever been issued a US visa? If you answer no, it will not open anything. If you answer yes, it will ask you for the date the last visa was issued, the visa number. Are you applying for the same type of visa? It will ask you if you're applying from the same country of the last visa, whether you've been temp printed, whether your visa was lost or stolen, and whether your visa was cancelled or revoked. And by the way, temp printed means you fingerprint all your 10 fingers. Then it asks you, have you ever been refused a US visa or been refused admission to the United States? Sometimes you can get a visa, but you can't be admitted to the US. Or withdrawn your application for admission at the port of entry. If you answer no, you can go to the next question. If you answer yes, you need to explain what the situation is, whether you applied for a visa and it's been refused and why. And the final question here, has anyone ever filed an immigrant petition on your behalf with the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services? This is a very important question because sometimes your relatives in the US send a petition for immigration for you and your family years back, maybe like 5-10 years ago, and you might not be aware of it, or you might be aware of it and forgot because it's been years that this application has pending, and you might answer no to this question although somebody has applied for an immigration petition on your behalf. And this is a big no. This is a big red flag. So make sure you answer every single question correctly. If you have relatives that might have possibly applied for an immigration visa for you, make sure that that is the case or not, because lying on this application will probably result in an immediate denial of your visa. So make sure all the information you fill here are very accurate. If you answer yes, you will explain the situation. If you answer no, you can go to the next section. And by the way, if you're an international medical graduate applying to residency in the US and you need help with your USMLE exams, we are here for you. We have our USMLE tutoring service with top-notch advisors that can not only help you formulate a study plan, the best resources to study for the exams, but also guide you through subject-specific tutoring. All our USMLE tutoring packages are 100% refundable, which means if you're not satisfied after the first hour, we give you your money back, and you can see the excellent reviews we have on Trustpilot that can testify to the premium service we provide for our students. Then it will ask you about your home address, where you're currently living, and you can put your street address, city, state, zip code. Some countries don't have that, so you can pick doesn't apply, and the country. If the mailing address is different than the home address, which is sometimes the case, sometimes people can't receive mail to their actual home, and in that case you can pick no and you can fill the information. If it's yes, it won't have you fill that, it will just send the mail to the home address. Then it will ask you about your primary phone number, secondary phone number, and work phone number. So primary phone number is the number you're likely to be reached at. So make sure if you put this number, you'll be able to respond if they call you on that number. Then it asks if you have any other phone numbers in the last 5 years. If you answer yes, it will tell you to add these additional phone numbers. Then it asks you for your email address. This is very important because many people around the world don't check their email address frequently like people do in the US, and they might send you communication or they ask you for some documents, and if you miss these emails and don't respond, you might lose your chance of getting the visa. So make sure that the phone number, the email address, and the address, the mailing address that you put in this application, you have access to them. So if they reach out to you on these formats, you would be able to respond back to them. And generally, and also frequently check your spam folder, junk folder in case the email goes there. Then it asks you for other email addresses in the last 5 years, and you need to put every email address you use in the last 5 years, and you can add another for each email address. Then we come to social media, and they want you to share all your social media accounts. They don't want you to share your password, but you need to share the handles of each social media account you have. And even if you have multiple accounts on the same platform, you need to add that. So let's say you have an account on Instagram, you pick Instagram and then you put your username. And if you need to add a second Instagram account or Twitter or whatever platform, you just add another. Then they ask you, do you wish to provide information about your presence on any other websites or applications you have used within the last 5 years to create or share content, photos, videos, status updates, etc. So I'm not exactly sure if you answer no, if that would be considered as I don't wish to provide information, but it's always best to be as transparent as possible. And if you've used any of these, any website to share these information that they mentioned here, photos, videos, status updates, to mention that. So if you click yes, it will ask you for the platform and your handle, and you can add others as you need. Then it asks you about your passport information, and it starts with the type of your passport: regular, official, diplomatic. Can't even pronounce this word. Most people will have a regular passport. Then it will ask you for your passport travel document number. Then it asks for a passport book number. Not all passports have that number. This is the most important number, and make sure you don't confuse the two. So if you only have one number, it's likely that this is the passport number. But if your authority or it says clearly this is the passport book number, you can put that. Otherwise, you can click does not apply. Then you have the authority that issued your passport, which is which country, then the city and the state in which this passport was issued, and then the country. And finally, the issuance date of that passport and the expiration date of that passport, and all this information should be on your passport. And make sure your passport is valid by the time you apply to your visa and you come to the US. And here they give you a note on the expiration date that in most cases, the travel document or the passport must have at least 6 months of validity beyond the date of the application and the arrival to the US. So let's say you're planning on visiting the US in June. Your passport is recommended to have at least validity until December of that year. So at least give 6 months after your travel date to the US. And then, have you ever lost a passport or had one stolen? If you answer yes to this question, it will ask you for the passport number, the country that issued this passport, and explain. If you answer no, you can click next. Before we move on to the next section, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the research courses we have on our website, thebatchguide.com. And research has become increasingly more important for the residency application process. People who have research experience, who have done some research work in the US, have been getting more interviews, have been getting better chances of landing a residency spot. And that's why we prepared all these research courses to help you ace your research time in the US and also your residency application. These courses were built based on my experience doing 3 years of research, dedicated research time in the US before I matched into plastic surgery residency, and I published 150 papers during my research time. So we have multiple courses for you. The research course teaches you how to take an idea to publication, mainly focuses on clinical research. It's an interactive online course that can be self-paced. You can watch it at any time. We have a WhatsApp group that can help support you. And this course, like all our other courses, is 100% refundable if you're not satisfied. The other course we have is the medical statistics for beginners. So it teaches you how to do statistical analysis on your own, which is essential if you're doing research. The third course is the systematic review and meta-analysis, another extremely high yield course. As you know, systematic reviews are high-level evidence type of research, and if you're able to conduct that type of research, you'd be able to publish in higher quality journals. And this course is both live and recorded. And finally, the how to find research positions in the US. Landing a research position in the US is not easy because not all research positions are good positions. That's why I created this course to help you understand what it takes to get that research positions and how to find the best mentors to help you achieve your goals. And as I said, all these courses are 100% refundable. If you're not satisfied, you can check the excellent reviews we have on Trustpilot. And if you have any questions about any of these courses, go ahead and schedule a free consultation on our website, thematchguy.com. Click here and you'll be able to talk to our customer support team and they can answer any questions you have about our services. And you can also reach out to us on WhatsApp. If you click here and you will be taken to WhatsApp and our customer support team will handle any questions you have about our courses or services. Then it will ask you for the US point of contact information, which is an individual in the US who knows you and can verify, if necessary, your identity. So not 100% they will call that person, but in case they wanted to call them, they should be available. And if you don't have a contact person, you can have a contact organization. So you can click does not know here and you can fill the organization name. Let's say you pick the contact person, then you pick the relationship to you, pick, for example, relative, and then you fill their information here, the street address, city, state, zip code, phone number, and email address. Then moving on to the family information, your family's information. So you need your father's full name and date of birth. So you have their last name here, first name here, date of birth, and is your father in the US, yes or no? If you answer yes, it will ask you the status of the father. Are they US citizen? Are they permanent resident, non-immigrant, or other? The same information for the mother. And then it will ask you if you have any immediate relatives, and it defines here the immediate relatives, not including your parents in the US. What are the immediate relatives? Fiance, spouse, husband or wife, child, son or daughter, or sibling, brother or sister. So if you have any of that in the US other than your parents, you click yes, and they will ask you more information about them, and you can add another for each immediate relative that you have in the US. Now moving on to the spouse information, you have their last name here, first name, date of birth, country of origin or nationality, and the place of birth of the spouse, the city, the country, and the spouse address. Then it will ask you about your present work / education / training information. What is your current employment or education? And that refers to the question here, primary occupation. For medical professionals, medical students, medical graduates, pick medical / health. If you're in any other industry, you can pick that. And then you can pick present employer / school name. So if you're a medical student, you can put your school name and information here. If you're a resident or a physician, you can put the current hospital you work at and their information here, the address, city, state, zip, phone number, and country. And then you can put the start date of this current work / education. So if you're working in the hospital, you can put the start date of that work. If you're a medical student in medical school, you can put the start date of that medical school. If you're employed and making money, you can put your monthly income in your local currency. If you're not making income, you can click does not apply. And then here briefly, you can describe your duties. And then you can click next. Then it will ask you about your previous employment. So let's say you were working as a physician now, but you were working as a resident before, or you were a physician at another job before. So you have to answer yes in that case and provide all the information here. the address, the employer name, the employer address, telephone number, the job title, the supervisor, first and last name, the employment beginning and end, and briefly describe your duties. And you can add another and another for every employment you got. If you answer no, you can go to the next question. Have you attended any educational institutions at a secondary level or above? So if you attended high school, college, university, graduate school, doctoral program, or a vocational program, you can answer yes to this question and then provide the information, the name of the institution, the address, the country, the course of study. So let's say you studied engineering, you can mention the university name here, what type of engineering, and the attendance date. And you can add another for every educational institution you studied at from high school until now, or even secondary school. So from secondary school, any institution that you studied at, you need to include it here. Then you have additional work/education/training information. Do you belong to a clan or a tribe? And if you answer yes, you need to put the name of that clan or tribe. If you answer no, you can move on to the next question. You need to provide the list of languages you speak. Have you traveled to any countries within the last 5 years? If you answer yes, you need to add the list of these countries. So let's say, for example, I traveled to Afghanistan. You click another and you list all these countries. Have you belonged to, contributed to, or worked for any professional/social/charitable organization? And if you worked at any of these organizations, you have to add that. And this is not like a trick question. It doesn't have to be a bad organization. Even if you work for a regular social/professional/charitable organization, you have to add that here. And if you answer yes, it will ask you for the name of the organization, and you can add all the organizations you worked at. Have you ever been a member of the Taliban? If you answer yes, you need to explain. If you answer no, you can move on. Do you have any specialized skills or training such as firearms, explosive, nuclear/biologic or chemical experience? If you answer yes, you need to explain. If you answer no, you can move on to the next question. Have you ever served in the military? Many countries, military service is mandatory, and again, it's not a trick question. If you served in the military, you have to answer yes. If you did not, you can answer no. If you answer yes, it will ask you for the country, the branch of service, your position, your military specialty, and the date of your service. And finally, have you ever served in, been a member of, or been involved with a paramilitary unit, vigilant unit, rebel group, guerrilla group, or insurgent organization? And if you answer yes, you need to explain. If you answer no, you move on. And then you have a big list of security and background questions, and you read these in detail and see if these apply to you. Here they ask about communicable diseases. If you answer yes, it asks you to explain. If you answer no, you can go to the next question: mental or physical disorder, drug user, and many other questions in parts 2, 3, 4, and 5, again, that you can read and see if it applies to you. You can say yes and explain. If not, you can click no and move on. And then we're gonna go to the photo section. Then it's gonna ask you to upload your photo. So when you click here, it will provide you with the information you need to know about the image requirements. So if you click here, you can see the image requirements for a US visa. The main things is to have a recent photo, comply with the position of the head, the background, how much percentage of the photo should the head be, and the size of the photo, which should be 2 by 2 inches, so 51 by 51 millimeters, so around 5 centimeters. It's like a square of 5 centimeters for each side. Then you can upload the photo, and then you can review your application. And after you finish reviewing, you will be prompted to sign and submit this application. And if at any point you lose your application, or you want to stop, you can just click save, and when you come back, you click the location that you want to apply to, fill the code, and click retrieve application. And it will ask you for the code that was up here in the actual application, and will ask you for your last name, your date of birth, and probably the security question, and then you'll be able to complete your application. So after you're done with the DS-160, you're not done yet, because you still need to pay the fee for the visa. You need to schedule your appointment at the embassy, and then you need to go for the interview. So how can you schedule the appointment? You need to create an account on the embassy of the country you're applying to. So let's say you're applying to a US visa from Canada. You can type in Google US visa application from Canada and click here. You can click on this link, which is the US Embassy and Consulate in Canada, categories and requirements. You have to navigate to see where you can schedule an appointment or where you can apply to the visa. So that will differ per each website of the company of the country you're applying from. So here you can see schedule an appointment. I'm sure there might be an easier way to navigate this, but if you scroll down, you can see here apply. Select this option if you've never used this website before and you have completed DS 160. We already completed that. So let's click apply here. And if you scroll down, you have options. Let's say I'm gonna pick this one. I'm non-Canadian citizen residing in Canada who has completed the US non-immigrant visa application DS 160 form and wants to apply for a visa. And click continue. And you can fill this information, agree to the forms, you create the account, and from there you'll receive probably an email to your account, and you can access your account to pay the fee for the visa and schedule the time to go and do your interview. So as you can see, once you fill the DS 160, the step afterwards, which is paying for the visa fee and scheduling your appointment, will vary based on where you're applying from. So you need to search on Google for the embassy/consulate of the United States in that city that you're applying from, and then navigate their website to where it says apply for a visa or schedule an appointment, and there will be an option where it says you already completed DS form, so you search for that. Again, it will vary based on each website. It's not like a uniform way. And once you find that, you create an account, you fill the form, and you receive an email. You access the email, you access your account, and then you pay for the visa and schedule the appointment. The requirements for each type of visa are similar across countries, and I'll leave in the description below the link from the Department of State for the different requirements of each type of visa. Again, if you're an international medical graduate hoping to start the residency journey in the US, make sure to check out the Match Guy services. We help international medical graduates from the beginning of the way with USMLE tutoring, with advising to find the right path to achieving your dream and matching into residency, to research, to helping you with the application process itself, personal statement, CV, interview preparation, advising through the process, and even US clinical experience. If you go to thematchguy.com under the services, you can find the different services we have. Under the residency match, we have the services related to the residency process. The match application packages include all the personal statement editing, CV editing, advising, interview prep in one package. And then you have these services separately: the interview preparation, letter of interest editing, ERAS application editing, personal statement editing, the residency program navigator, and the residency advising. If you're starting your journey to the US, this is a very good service to start with. It's like a one consultation session with an advisor who can give you the advice on what you need to do to match into residency. If you're interested in doing rotations in the US, we have multiple options here, and you can click on that and explore that. If you need USMLE tutoring, we have that for you. If you need advice with research, or if you want to practice in the US without repeating residency, if you already completed residency in your country, we have that for you. You can check all our advisors here, and you can check the excellent reviews we have on Trustpilot by checking our Trustpilot account. We also have multiple courses that can help you learn about research and ACE research, which is becoming increasingly important for the residency match process. We have courses about systematic review. We have a research course that will show you how to take a research project from idea to publication. The medical statistics course will teach you how to do statistical analysis for your projects, and the how to find research positions will help you find research positions in the US and possibly start your residency journey here. And these other courses are also possible. If you want to start with scheduling free consultation, go ahead and schedule a consultation here where you can talk to one of our team members for free and they can guide you with the best services to help you achieve your dream. If you find any value, I would really appreciate it if you can give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell sign so you get notified whenever I post future videos on my YouTube channel. Also, make sure to check out the detailed video I recorded with a lawyer about the visa advice for international medical graduates. So go ahead and check that out, and good luck on your journey.